Hello, folks. Welcome to another episode of Fictional Character Motivation. I'm your host, Quan, and today we'll be diving into a movie that actually came out a few months ago. Pretty much knowing your actions have consequences before becoming unhinged. Hope everyone is having a good day so far, and here we go. So this movie is based off of pretty much watching the movie Unhinged, which came out a few months ago. Still in theaters, actually. It's I would advise to go see it, or you can wait until it comes out to go see it. I thought it was very good and very applicable in a lot of things. But base of the story is a a divorced single mother, or she's in the final processes of being divorced, is taking her kid to school with the frustration of work, traffic, still handling parts of the divorce, and still fighting what she's owed during the split. Aggressively honks at a driver who's also going through some issues, some psychopathic issues. And because of that fateful honk, the guy decides to terrorize her and her friends and family for the rest of the day. I thought it was a very interesting movie, and it plays a lot on some things that you should sometimes let slide and other things that you shouldn't. It has been interesting to notice that if a character made a different choice, this goes for like most movies, took a different path, or even took something with them, that the story would be different. That the movie even may not have even happened. With most horror films, or even some other films, you'll realize that pretty much if this person would have just did this or that, the movie might have actually been shorter, like maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes tops. But that just shows the weight of actions having consequences. However, that doesn't happen, as you can see. But how does this tag into real life? Well, that's quite easy, really. A lot of the things that we do are most of the time choices. Sure, we have choices and we have triggers, which triggers are disguised as choices that we already made that we automatically do. An action is that we have to take or not to take. Examples of this is you don't have to allow that negative thought, event, or emotion to ruin your day. We've all had that. We've all had that moment to where we're doing something and then out of nowhere something negative completely happens, whether it involves a car, a person you know, or a just random incidents of things. Granted, it still may be pretty bad, but when you really, really think on it, you don't have to let that emotion take you. You don't. You can feel that emotion. You can pretty much be in that emotion, but in a way, how I like to describe a good amount of emotions, it doesn't have to be the fuel to your being sometimes. You can pretty much just, like in meditation, you can pretty much let that emotion sink in, let it be in that moment for a while, and then slowly let it pass away. Another example is that a choice you're about to make, is that getting you closer to your goals? And this goes from pretty much the minor choice to even the big choices. Minor choices being, if you want to lose weight, is it really a good idea to eat a big piece of cake? Is it really a good idea to eat 3 donuts? Is it really a good idea to really pig out on that meal? If you're trying to get weight, if you're trying to cut, think about that. And it goes pretty much for major choices. such as if you're trying to uh, save up a bunch of money so you can start a business, but there's this new thing that came out. Do you really need that thing? Or can you wait just a bit longer just so you can get to that certain point? And with that, it doesn't even have to involve a business. You can pretty much want it to where you want a certain amount of money in your account. Do you really want to buy that thing, or can you wait until you have a little bit more extra money after that limit you're going after to celebrate? Just a thought. There can be multiple examples I can go into that, but you all know it's some of the choices we make. We can make better choices. We all can, including me. Um, Another example is doing a chore sooner. Is doing a chore sooner going to give you time for more things you want to do, or is it better to push it away? And I say that as like there are some times where you have to do a chore, you have to get rid of it now. Reason being is because if your mind scatters a lot, if your schedule's usually full, you might want to knock that out as soon as possible. Versus there are other times where if a chore is important, but you have something else important going on, something that is almost an emergency, then you can push that for a little bit more just to get that emergency done. And one of the other, once again, this refers to pretty much one of the motivational speakers that I listen to, Eric Thomas. Big shout out. Listen to his videos, help me out a lot. But he also makes this this diagram. I take it towards like pretty much making choices, and pretty much you have choices that are like not as necessary, important, and an emergency. I probably butchered that a little bit, but as you know, pretty much emergency is something that needs to, like pretty much not necessary is it's icing on the cake, it's extra stuff. Necessary is this needs to be done. This has to be done immediately, but it needs to be done. And then you have emergency where it's just like this needs to be started like right now. This needs to be taken care of right now. And you'll find your different levels of whether something is not an emergency but needs to be taken care of soon, not an emergency and can be pushed off a little bit more, and an emergency to where it has to be almost handled ASAP, like almost as soon as you get here, it has to be taken care of. And that's the diagram. But determining those choices like that could probably help out a lot in the long run. And going in, some of the actions that we make can affect us immediately. Some actions can, but most of the time, the choices that we make usually gradually deter us. Most of the time, when we think about something being completely urgent, it may not be completely urgent. You may need to handle it, in a couple of hours or maybe in a couple of days. Just as much as there are some things that you think is not as important, but actually is. And pretty much it's good to feed into what you're really aiming for and what you're really going for. In one of Terry Crews's interviews, and this is pretty much going back into kind of health, but you already know that I'm a martial artist and I'm a trainer, so I got to think about those things. Terry Crews once said about choices and habits, and he basically summed it up to where it was like eating one donut will not make you fat. Drinking one shake will not make you fat. Eating a big meal, eating a fried food meal will not make you fat. Eating a donut possibly every day will make you fat. And that goes for pretty much the minor choices that you make that pretty much affect us in the long haul that are quite important, but we don't view it as important, but it is. And just pretty much our actions throughout the day, even pretty much before we get out the house. I think if a lot more people had a more morning routine or a get up routine that pretty much balances you out, that gets you in a good mood, I think that help out a lot of people. I think it really does. And I'm not just saying, not just, well, I get up one and I drink coffee and I work out and that's about it. No, no, no. Go deeper than that. Go deeper than that. Like, you wake up, you get coffee. What are you doing that's going to, put a smile on your face? And after that, what are you doing that's going to move you ahead? What are you doing that's improving yourself? And then you can pretty much, what are you doing that's going to keep you focused on what needs to be done today or what needs to be done in a week? That's what I'm talking about. My morning thing that I like to do, and there's some times that I fell off, but most of the time when I do this, most of the time the day feels different. It feels better. And I wake up, I do some meditation. After that, I do some working out. I do pretty much a martial arts inspired working out because that's what I feel gets me moving. I practice some forms or some katas for old school folks. I do some exercises here and there. I do some stretches, and then pretty much I watch some videos or I listen to music to get me moving a little bit more. I type some stuff out, whether it be some, scripts or some pretty much podcasts that I'm doing. I plan it out for whatever day is, and then I pretty much do all this stuff before I have to before I have to put on clothes to get outside the door. And that's my process. That is my morning process. I also like to joke around and say that's me putting on my armor. And I think that term needs to be taken real seriously, because I think if you, instead of look at your morning not just as, oh, well, I woke up today, but if you're waking up today and you're preparing for the rest of the day, you're thinking about, okay, if this happens, I got armor for this. If someone comes at me sideways, I got my mind right for this. I think if everyone does this for preparing for the day, instead of just looking at it as the start of a day, I think we might move ahead a little bit more. And to pretty much make that full circle, those actions, they have consequences too, but those consequences are light compared to other things, during the movie, and pretty much is similar to life, is that pretty much your actions do have consequences. If you be nice to this one person, sure, they may not be nice to you, but they can be nice. They can respond with niceness too, and you know what? You have good energy there. Or you can move around the day and be mean, be inappropriate, be cold, and guess how the world's gonna feel? It's gonna feel inappropriate. It's gonna feel cold. It happens. The whole law of attraction thing, it's not just a spiritual mindset. It's actually a very mental one when you think about it. You give good energy, you give back. You get back good energy. Let that sink in. Sometimes, even when we don't want to, even though we don't want to put on that smile and be nice and I don't want to do this right now. Sometimes we give a little bit extra and just be like, you know what? Even though this and this is happening right now, even though I'm not feeling my tip-top shape, I'm still going to go in the workout. I'm still going to try to be the best possible version that I can do, that I can be. Still going to try to aim for my goals, even though it's almost as far as the moon. And who knows? That energy may come back tenfold to you, to where you accomplish that goal quicker, to where you may get congrats on that tip. You may even get a big tip just for being nice. Not to like toot my own horn, but there have been multiple cases to where I've went into places, and I'm a pretty much also delivery driver on the side. Just to shout that out to all my delivery drivers. I feel you. I care for you. Be safe. But there's been multiple times where like I have responded with niceness, with positivity, and because of that positivity, it either leaves me memorable, or almost to the point to where I get a bigger tips because of that. Like if it's happened, I like I said, I can't give you specific dollar amounts because you know that's just me. But I'm letting you know, being polite, being respectful, and just even being positive, that goes a long, long way. Even when you don't feel like it goes a long, long way. And the same with your actions. You know, I also use the term, and this is pretty much one of my quotes, is that pretty much when you do an action, it's basically you're basically a stone in a pond. When you do an action, that action makes a ripple in the pond, and it pretty much goes out, and then eventually, whatever action you did, the pond hits, pretty much the waves hit the pond, the land, and it bounces back. And however it happens, whatever goes on, those actions come back to you. And that's just a thought to think about, really. It's most actions do have consequences, from the good to the bad. You want to eat that donut? Go ahead, eat that donut. But now if you keep eating that donut, it may become a habit. Same with eating foods that you know are not really healthy for you, but then again, it may just become an unconscious habit. And now you're sitting here eating food, and then you not only start to get to the weight that you don't want to be, but then you start getting health problems, you start having issues, and you're wondering, where do these issues come from? It may have started with the first time you ate a donut, or that food that you didn't observe correctly, and it just started to carry on and on and on. And it's always good to keep that in mind. So, hope this helps. Hope this kind of knocks on wood. Sorry for that long splurge, but just know that all your actions have consequences. Some of those consequences can be real bad. Some of those consequences can be good, actually. So, keep those in mind. But hope this lands for you. Hope this hits for you. As usual, if this did hit for you, please leave me a comment on my YouTube channel, Mind of Quan. Search for this episode, Fictional Character Motivation, or FCM, dash know your actions have consequences before becoming unhinged. Leave a comment, leave a like, let me know. Have mad love for y'all, for everyone who's listening. I appreciate everyone who's listening. Even if this touched on a minute level and you don't want to comment, I respect you, care for you, love you, want you to succeed. Keep doing your thing, and I'll keep doing mine. Hope everyone does well, and deuces.